Howdy, howdy. Um, how's it going? I am distracted at the moment by my inkling to get and to the football manager game develop. I need to put this down somewhere, or I don't know, come up with a way to set this by default because it doesn't put tags in when I start. So I have to go and do this. This is on YouTube, by the way. I don't even think I can do tags at all on, I think, well, that's probably not totally true. I do have the ability to go, in fact, honestly, I'm not sure what my current tag is on Twitch. So I'm going to have to take a look at that here in just a minute. I'll have to update it so that we don't have a big mess. If I can find it. Okay, I think things are working. Guess we'll see. I can refresh this to make sure it didn't change any of my stuff. Doesn't still say restream. It doesn't. Okay. Now, I wonder if this will change my. I don't think it does because I don't think it's smart enough, honestly. But let's go ahead and put in these, which I think only really only work on Twitch. It says YouTube, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work on YouTube. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, let's close that. All right, so what I'm working on now is I'm running tests for my escape block skill. I created a test. See, I still got a couple little errors going in here. Cannot compare float 64, which is obviously a problem. Don't know why it got that because these other ones didn't get that. But I do have a missing modifier, which I haven't. I think I did create the modifier, but I didn't actually run and put it in the system. So I have pass block. Oh wait, maybe I don't. I did not create it. So let's go add another. Probably don't need to copy all this, but and then this is going to be escape block is a defensive ability. Pass blocking is an offensive ability. These are the two most recent ones I've built up. But on this one, I don't think I actually created. I didn't use that many. This is the only mod I have for controllers. So the way I developed the escape block is I'm basically taking into account their stuffs, the number of yards that they stuffed them for, sacks, the number of sack yards they lost, the tackles. There's not a lot of other information to see how good these guys are getting away from blocks. But the thought is, the premise is that if these guys have been successful at making lots of tackles and lots of stuffs and lots of sacks, then they're pretty good at getting away from the blocks. Because if they're getting blocked, they're probably not doing a lot of that. So, and then since I'm using tackles, which to me are a weaker measurement, because not always are they even blocked for some kinds of tackles, you know, if it's down the field, if it's after a catch, a lot of times the only one there is the person who tackles them. So there's no blocking there. Plus, you can't block downfield, so they're not getting blocked beyond 5 yards unless the other guy has the ball, in which case there's, you know, there's just not as much blocking going on outside of that front line. So, yes, tackles matter because, you know, players are in on a lot of tackles, but I wanted them to be weighted differently. So, sack and stuff yards actually get a mod, behind the line tackles mod. Right now, I'm going to start with like 3. And then we will go from there. I haven't decided. So 3 times, I'm just going to say. No, I'll just get rid of these ones. It's only 1, but it'll allow me to see which modifiers. Because see, eventually I'm going to load up these modifiers into a control panel of sorts that I can edit, tweak, and rebalance the game without recompiling the system. So that's what these are for. This right now, I'm just managing them through a seed function that I can upload at any time. So in theory, I can just always edit stuff right here and then just rerun the seed project. But, you know, a UI might be a little bit more friendly. I can just, you know, tweak the values. And plus, I think I want to have like, I'm going to have a number of logic and constant monitoring going on how things are performing in the game. And when I make tweaks or changes, I want to see how things affect that particular skill. You know, what's happening as a result. Now, true, if I tweak the escape block skill, right? So maybe there's a lot of sacks and lots of stuffs and lots of things going on behind the screen. I'm like, this is kind of high. So I would adjust the blocking abilities of my players to increase their success. And I can adjust the modifier here to tweak the base. So all of the skills I have are all base skills, which means every skill every player has is going to have a base skill, no matter what your modifiers are, what kind of momentum or skill changes or advancements and learnings and whatever else, no matter what you have, this can change. Now, I don't even have to change it by whole numbers. I can say, okay, well, let's try 3.5, 3.2. I don't have to go straight to 4. Ultimately, the idea is that we're increasing their skill at blocking. You increase the base, and that becomes a higher number. Now, what that ultimately means too is that how does that affect? I mean, like everything is balanced against a rating, which isn't the value you're using. So everything uses a number that the rating is not used by the system. The rating is meant to be a visual representation of how good that player is at that one thing. So what I'm going to end up having to do, and so when the player's skill actually triggers, that'll be using a different scaling factor, because it just depends on what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'll have different scale factors. Still have the min and max, which will determine how good they are at it in relation to the other players, but they will have a what do you call it? I want to call it a game value that it gets converted to, which is what's used in, or even like a logic value, which I might call it a logic value, which makes sense. Which you convert it to a logic value, min and max. Now it sits between this particular range of numbers that has to be used to do the tests. How good a guy is at escaping a block, how good a guy is at blocking. Those guys go up against each other. What's the result? So escaping a block, changing this value might not affect much in the way of their rating, because it's affects everybody, but it might affect how their skill sets. Now, maybe that skill sets between certain range, so I adjust this, and now suddenly they're a little better at escaping blocks. Or maybe I increase the number that can affect the escape. But I'm just tweaking and playing. It gives me the control over how these players balance out. So that's the idea. So anyway, having all these mods here, they all give me the ways to tweak and adjust values. Like what's more important in a play. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit for that, and this guy is, better than he should be. Or it's not representing very well in what he's doing. I'd like players to kind of like, if I run them a bunch of times, I'd like to see, like, say a guy gets 100 tackles. I could have it run until he has 100 tackles. And then based on that 100 tackle logic, how many stuffs and sacks does he get? Or how many times is he getting away from the block even, So not every time a player gets away from a block do they actually make a play, but it does give me an idea at how good they are at, putting themselves in a situation to make a play. Could come down to tackles. Maybe a guy needs to be better at tackling. I'm going to have all kinds of little balance adjusters that I can play with. And that's why I want to be able to do it through a UI, because then I can log the change, kind of see how that affected various parts of the game. What changed when I run it. So I got to run certain logic or validations that say, okay, run 1,000 tests for each one of these. Run 1,000 escape blocks. Run 1,000 pass blocks. Run 1,000 whatever. They're just going to keep running against different players, and we're going to see what kind of results I'm getting, and determine how that comes out. So it'll be interesting to see, because even if you have a great offensive line, you could still end up with a lot of sacks against you, because for one, maybe the defense is too good. Maybe your quarterback's just terrible. It does happen. You get bad quarterbacks on a good offensive line. So there's a lot of things. Or you could be going up a great defense. Maybe the defense is too good, and I got to tweak them because they're like excessively good. So I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, let's see what I get. I got to make sure I get all these values come back with something, though. So let's go back to my... let's go run the system init. Okay, so that should put the skill in there that I'm looking for. This is the skill. All right, let's see what we get. Let's go back to player skills and run it again. Let's see what values come back now. Still got a lot of fails, a lot more errors. Escape block skill should be non-negative. Oh, wait a minute, what? Yeah, that makes sense. Why wouldn't it be? I don't even have any negative values on here. Plus, times, plus, times. Wait. Non. So I gotta this isn't exactly the same. I didn't put any logging in this particular skill. All my other skills I put logging. I'm probably gonna have to put logging because I don't know what I'm looking at. Let's just see. Escape block skill. It's not showing me the player, which is kind of annoying, so I can't separate these visually. Escape block skill 0.13. I mean, these are getting kind of 0.133. That last one got a non, though. So we got Ryan Clark, free safety, Pittsburgh, game 15. Debug, found, get stat, found total tackles 89 at blah, blah, blah. He has no sacks, which is probably fine. Stuffs, all right. Tackles 89. Modifier type escape block. Still got a modifier type escape block not found. Wait a minute. FPFM. Should have put it in there. Skill control modifiers. Documents. There it is. Oh, escape. Escape block. Escape block. Am I like spelling it wrong? Escape block. ESCAPE capital B LOCK. No, I spelled it right. Huh. Modifier type escape block not found. Oh, I forgot. Ugh. All right. This is kind of annoying. I forgot about this dumb thing. Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I thought, okay, so as you know, I'm using AI. I don't use AI for everything, but I use it for some stuff because I'm learning Go pretty well. I've written a number of functions and actions on my own now, and I'm doing it more and more as time goes on. However, some things, like when I want to write a new one and I'm not exactly sure of the best way to approach it, okay, so get control. Where is it? Get control modifiers. I ask AI to create the function for me. And that's kind of what I've been doing a lot of with AI. Just say, write functions. I'm not even letting it do a lot of the bulk code anymore because or if I do, it's going to be in pieces so I can have a tight rein of over what it's doing because I've found myself redoing stuff too much. But here's like one thing it's doing. Okay, so is this the one I'm looking for? No. Wait. Where is the get control modifiers? Get control. That's not in the right place. See this? I don't like this. It makes me have to, if I keep adding stuff, I have to keep coming back here and adding in escape block and blah, blah, blah. I have to set one up for every one. I was just putting them into these three, which is fine, but I want it to be a little bit more dynamic. Let's see if here. Yeah, see, I still don't know Go well enough to feel comfortable in my ever growing abilities, even though, I mean, I know what it's doing. It's, you know, I mean, we're getting the strings, we're looking at all the modifier types, and then it's going through a loop of every modifier type to find the one that matters, and then it searches for that one particular value that's going to come back. So I just don't like it because I have to feed it every single modifier type. Can you update this to not require an array. Modifier types, but rather just to search for database for the provided modifier. So we have a context and a store. Is it literally? Okay. Get control modifier type. But that's not, okay, something's weird about this. Get control modifier. Because it takes 3 values, 2 strings. Okay, this is the one. I don't even know what that other one is, honestly. Hold on, my dog wants out. Hold on. Decided you've had enough down here already? I think oh. I forgot to take. Why do I have a razor in my pocket? I forgot to put one in my bag, gym bag, this morning. So I couldn't shave, which was a bummer. Okay, back again. Sorry about that. Distractions. I hadn't emptied out my gym bag yet. You don't want to leave stuff in your gym bag. That's not good. So, back to it. So we got modifier type, if exists. Why does it, so we must have to, it must define this. And I don't know how that's working, but it does work when I do that. So let's just change this. Or rather, can you update get control modifiers to not require an array of modifier types, but rather just to search the database and gather all that. Because it's kind of silly. It's hard coding, bad playing. That prevents me from being able to. It just prevents me from being able to update it easily. Just add new ones, because then I have to go. And I'm going to add new ones because I'm probably going to change the way it's formatted right now. I'm going to break it up into skills. The advantage of breaking it up into skills means whenever I need to tweak blocking or running or catching or passing or whatever the skill is, the associated modifiers will be in that one. So if I need to tweak that to make it better or worse or change or whatever, I can do that simply by going to that skill and saying, okay, let's open up this skill, show me the modifiers, we'll adjust them. And then I know how it affects, then I can see how it affects those players. But, you know, with modifiers, the whole point is to allow for maybe bigger numbers or smaller numbers in general. So the value might like change to some extent, but this, again, the rating wouldn't change because it won't affect the rating. Rating is always balanced. So if I want my range to go from 1 to 3, I'm like, let's tweak this a little bit so it ends up being like 3 to 15 or something like that, where I want it to adjust. And then I can use those numbers a little bit more effectively, maybe. Or I just have to figure out how to do that. And so these modifiers will allow me to tweak and adjust stats. That's really all it's doing. I might want to make them bigger or smaller. Whatever. All right, prefer the store's bulk retrieval to discover all modifier types dynamically. Yes. I always hate that it keeps these fallbacks. It's like, no, what good's that going to do me? Fallback. So we're going to get them all. If there's an error, I don't want it. So yeah, this whole bit doesn't even matter. Log and fall back to per type fetch if bulk retrieval fails. So why would bulk retrieval fail? And I don't want to fall back because then that just means it's kind of like I think I'd rather just have bulk. No. Yeah, that's not good. AI likes to really put in a lot of catch-alls. And it's annoying as heck. AI catch-alls. It's like, oh, if this doesn't work, then just make it up. It's like, oh, return a fake number. It's like, no, I don't want a fake number. What good's that gonna do? just tell me it broke. Let's log this puppy and deal with it. Truthfully, if you let AI have its way and it had all these catch-alls and you have all these logs and it would just have warnings and logs everywhere, you'd be able to. Your code would probably be pretty solid. I mean, it would run. I mean, but you would also have a bunch of broken data. It would constantly be, if something fell back, you wouldn't even know why. You know, it doesn't say here we're using the fallback. Oh, I guess it does kind of say it up here, but yeah, all right. So let's dump this. I don't want that. Let's just go ahead and keep. Think. How many things did it change here? Not even sure what it changed. Oh, it's just. It's almost like the AI is like, I don't think you want that. Let's just put this catch in for when he decides he doesn't want it anymore. But we're going to get rid of this fallback crap. We got an error. That's good. Warning. Get control modifiers failed. Hey, what am I? Stop it. Why does it insist upon? It's like, are you sure you want to put this back? It's like, no, I don't want to put it back. Stop it. But I don't want this either. Oh, that must be part of the... Okay, let's just do this. Stop it. That is kind of annoying. Okay. Let's go back here. Now I shouldn't need to do anything. Strong safety. We got a lot of numbers. Good, good, good. Blah, blah, blah. 0.12. Wait a minute. Why are we getting a negative? Wait, are my stuff yards stored as negatives? Our sack yards? Or, oh, no, wait. No, they're stored positively. It's just showing negative because I guess it's showing negative just because it is a negative loss for them. It's kind of silly because if you think about it, you wouldn't have stuff yards if they were positive. So saying it's negative, yeah, they lost 3 yards off the stuffs, but it wouldn't be positive. You can't have positive result for stuff yards. You can have very small. You could even have 0, I suppose, if you're hitting them right at the line of scrimmage. But I don't even know if that counts as a stuff, though, to be honest. And sacks, again, can be very small, but they can't be 0 or positive. So I don't know why they... Somebody here... Oh, there's an error. Okay, so who is this guy, and why does it error? Defensive backs. Cannot compare type float 64. Test escape block skill. Escape block skill should be a non-negative. What did we get here? Player 1, Malvin Bullet. He has no sacks, no stuffs. He has 72 tackles. So what? Yeah, okay, so we got some players here. I don't know. He has 14 games. But why? Total tackles 72. Should still be a positive number. Because he has tackles. All right. I have to put some extra logging in so I can see what numbers. I mean, it does show me a lot of what I got. I mean, why did he get a non? Let's go look at my defensive skills here. Escape block. Okay, so he's got. Melvin Bullet, SS, Indy, game 14, that's fine. 72, but otherwise, basically got 0, 0. That's it. Games played does not equal 14. This is 0, 0, 0, 0. Escape block. It's got 0. It's okay to have 0 though. I'm trying to figure out why he's getting a non. Why he's getting a negative. All right, well, let's try something. Let's go put some logs in. I don't really need stuffs. I'm trying to figure out why he, in particular, so we already know he's 0, 0, 0, 72. What values is it missing for him? Got position, strong safety, team Indy, game 14, stuffs. I don't know that I like that all my tests are getting all these values. Because it's like it makes the test slower. It's going and getting all these values when, I mean, I guess if I'm doing the log, I'm doing it anyway, but it just seems kind of bizarre, I guess. Position SS, team Indianapolis, games 14. Just trying to figure out what value could potentially even come out negative. All right, let's see how many of those nons come when we're actually beyond this. I wonder if the problem is coming up with the escape block skill coming up negative. No, negative 99 is a stopper. It just basically means don't get the current min. Don't update the min. That's what that is. There's nobody's going to ever have a negative 99 anything. I hope. I should never have numbers that big, or my numbers are too, or my logic calculations. It doesn't like this float 64 thing. So there's also a missing value here. I bet you, let's see, games played. Player name, player position, games played. And let's go ahead and do this. Dude, I don't have games started. Guess I don't use games started in this one. So games played is. It says it can't. Something about float 64. So, but it says he's got 14 games. So I can't imagine unless. See, I don't know what. Which one is it? Games played. All right, let's do this. Let's just go with this for now. we'll say, let's see what this number is. Adjusted average sacks and stuffs. Adjusted sacks and stuffs. Stuff. Yards. What? All right. Let's see what this returns. This is the two values that are kind of making everything up. Oh, actually, let's do this one too. Player availability. All right. Now these might not show up if it's passing a false into my write logs. Which should, nope, I have it right here. Okay, so we have Devontae Davis also got a non. Okay, adjusted sacks and stuff yards is a non. All these are nons. So the problem is I can't do these because they're zeros, right? Adjusted sack and stuffs. 0 plus 0 divided by behind the line tackles. And if you had 0, all right, so I got to do. Let's go like if, nope, we gotta do something like adjusted sacks and stuffs if equals 0. Then we're going to say adjusted sacks and stuffs. You know what? Let's do this. We'll go like this. To get the value. And then we'll say if it's 0, it's still going to be a 0 times, right? So 0 times 0. So there's nothing wrong with my adjusted sack and stuffs, right? Because 0, 0, 0. So why is that coming back non? Adjusted sacks and stuffs loss. There's nothing wrong with being a 0. 0 times 0 is 0. But why is that failing? 0, 0. Because we did not find the value? No, because it's 0. Shacks and stuffs are 0. So why? Can you explain why ADJ sacks and stuffs is returning none when a player gets a 0 value for the variables grep. I mean, I guess I can maybe because it's a 0, it's not actually getting to be a float, but that still shouldn't stop it from being a valid int. Where's a division? Well, there's a division, but that's the next line. Because this value is not getting a division. Oh, that's not the one I'm using. What the heck? Oh, never mind. I'll leave it to AI to point out your mistakes, Ken. It's like, that shouldn't be none. I could understand this one. All right, so if that's 0, then we have to make this 0 too, because obviously if neither of those exist, then we don't have a valid number. Okay, so if not equal to 0, I mean, guess division doesn't work that way. Okay, so we need to set this to what, a 0? Just initialize it here. Oh, fine. Gotta be afloat. All right, let's see what that does. All right, so I think we got away from the nons. The large number for player availability represents the number of plays they were available. So that's the number we're dividing by, which is fine. I just wanted to see it. It's used for these calculations. So it ends up with small calculations, but everybody should be in a range. So we got 0.08, 0.06 for that group. I don't think we're getting any more nons, right? Okay, I think we got everybody getting something. 0.1. Now, I don't have any scaling going on in here at all, which is typically okay. I should do some kind of a scaling on it, but I don't know what my min and max would be. See, each one of these functions, some of them use scale values, but others don't. But interestingly enough, if I use escape block skill and I don't actually if I don't actually scale it in some way, then my default minimum is never going to get defined. Because I can't have a default minimum with my skill, because it's going to run through all of them, but it's got to also get, I could try to do like a, it's almost like I have to do a scale, or I don't even have to do a scale. What I need to do is just do a scale min and a scale max, just so that I can record it and use it when I future need to set ratings, because I need to know what the ratings are. I need them all to be within a range of each other. And right now I'm just storing the actual values. There's no scaling at all, which means they're not being, there's no scaling because they're not being compared against each other. They're just being compared against their stats, which could be problematic, because I'm having them go, how do I know how a player compares to his fellow teammates or fellow league mates if I'm not scaling them somehow? Because this right now is just saying, hey, this is what your value is within your team, or how you, because all it is against your team. But maybe your value is comparably, it's got to be scaled somehow against the rest of the league. Can't simply, I mean, I guess you can. When I do the ratings, I can, because they'll be compared against the min and the max, and that'll work. But I don't have an escape block scale min right now. So I can't really define. Now, to be fair, when I do ratings, I will be using a min and a max, and that will reset them, but I won't be able to get a value for this guy, who these guys are failing at minimum. So I need to actually set, I need to do this. And since I need call get scale min value to initialize a minimum for players that do not have stats to qualify. And in this case, strangely enough, oops, we will just do 0, no, underscore equals am I doing that wrong? Probably. All right, what happens if I don't do it at all? Wait, what does this return? Float 64. Can I run a function and not actually get a value back? Will it be all right with that? I don't really want a function. I just need to call it so that it resets it. Let's see what that does. All right, so we're getting them back. That number should now be initialized. It won't fully be set until I run all the skills. But it is now functioning. I'm no longer getting nans. I should be setting that correctly. If I want a default for every player, I need to define a default, which basically means that this needs to be ran, which will trigger a rerun when it runs through the first time when those are all getting initialized. But in the future, they shouldn't have to be reran. They should just be, it should just call them and get whatever's in there. The only time it would ever get reran is if I put in somebody who actually changes the min or the max. You can't be, it'd be hard to be the worst with stats. I got to figure out if there's a way to do this. Problem is not, maybe I should just do like a, God. I laugh because it's like, am I overthinking this? I may be overthinking this. I don't really want players that have no skill to be equal to those that have next to no skill. So like say, for example, you have a guy who plays one play, gets one stuff, or one tackle. He's on defense. He gets one tackle. That's all he does the whole season. But that would make him equivalent to every player on offense and everybody else who who doesn't play defense at all, because they won't have any stats and they'll get the minimum, which will be that guy who's just got the one tackle. So his one tackle makes him on defense. He's a defensive player, but he doesn't even get to be ranked higher than the next guy. So I feel like there's got to be a way to set the min. I mean, there is a way to set them in. And since I scale them, I'm thinking I want to set them into a number that's like, I don't know, 0.01 smaller. But I don't know what the... It's like you see some of these ratings. Like you got 0.14. 0.16, 0.15, 0.14, 0.16. Five, 1.6, 1.4. Everybody's won something. This guy's at 0.0309, which makes him the smallest right there. 0.12, 0.13, 0.08, 0.13, 0.03. Like this guy's way down there, right? So I mean, you got some guys that are pretty low. 0.09, 0.14. And a 0.0, that's interesting because, well, that's the group. So these guys are pretty small, but 0.14 is the highest and 0.03, oh, that's just the group. 0.03 min, oh, that's the average is 0.09. Okay, 0.03 and 0.14. All right, so anyway, it gives them a range, but that's like, why would I want 0.03 guy who's got some stats? What if I subtract, or what if I just say the min is the 0.03? I don't want to go negative though. I don't want to, because that's so hard. Because I wanted to be able to derive it. But if I say something like minus 0.01 for everybody, that's assuming that all my values are never going to hit 0.00 anything. Because I don't want to go negative. I don't know how bad these numbers can get. I mean, if somebody has the barest of minimum values, I could just say it's subtract 0.01 and log the greater of yeah, let's do that. Let's see, I'm going to change this. I have a solution. Have it in my head. So when we're doing this, we're going to do don't care about that. Ensure a document exists. Inserting set both min and max to the value. not sure what the function is. Is it math? Do they, no, math is react. What is the function to, what is the function? That was my question. I don't even think I paid attention to it. Oh, it did explain to me. Okay. What is a function that Go has for X? It's probably max. I want to say it's math, but I know React has a math dot something. But I don't, is Go use math dot too? See how slow this is? Watch, I could probably go ask the same question in Copilot. And the Copilot's loading. What is Go's equivalent to max? Oh, there it is. It is math.max. Oh. But look, it was instantaneous, and oh, you probably can't see because this is Copilot. Copilot came back with it almost instantly. But it's max also. Max val equals max, return 6.7. These are generic and support multiple arguments. You can use the math.max function, but it only works with float 64. Interesting. How come you didn't tell me that? Huh? You're gonna let Copilot out inform me? GPT-5 preview? You're letting Copilot win that debate? I'm disappointed in you, man. All right, so we're gonna go. Actually, min. We're gonna go min. Is it capital? Min. Oh wait. No. Oh, it is max. Never mind. Max value minus point or 0.01. One for that, one for that, one for that. Why do I need another one? Weird. There's no built-in max for ints, usually small helper. This is not an int. Value is not an int. It says it only works for float. That's fine. Math.max. Okay. So weird that or is it capital M? No, small math, big max. Okay. Nope, did that wrong. We gotta take this out. Control X. Let me just say value here again. This belongs here. Okay, and then this also belongs here. So if we do update, I'm gonna put in a min value that's slightly less, just so that we always have a min value. And then when everything's go through and calculate it at a later time, the next time it comes through and calculates that guy, it's actually gonna put him up above this because the value exists and we don't need to set any values. So it's just gonna return how he fits inside the scale. But the idea is that we're going to have a min that's lower, even if it is 0.01. That's actually, I did that wrong. It should be 0.0 on both of these. 0.0. I don't want to go negative. So worst case worst, we set the guy at 0. I don't want anybody, no matter how low the numbers can go, I should always have positive numbers. I don't have to, the system will work without them, but for my purposes, my scaling values, I want everything to be scaled above, so my minimums always have to land above 0. Because I can't think of any scenario. Oh, so I saw an old Dell monitor. That's for 25 bucks. And this guy said he was going to buy it. And then voila. And of course, it was Facebook. My wife's trying to get rid of it for me on Facebook. And of course, the guy basically ghosted us. So the guy basically ghosted us. And the thing is, that's a common thing. In fact, I saw a TikTok the other day about a guy who said, and it was supposed to be funny. And the guy was basically, I think I'll just go and find something on Facebook Marketplace and make them really think I'm gonna get it, and then never show up. I was like, oh god, that's so real. And if I could find that, I'd send it to my wife right now, because it would be perfect. Because we kind of got hit by that the other day. I don't even know if it was TikTok. It might have been like a YouTube short, and I'll probably never see it again, because I don't know. I don't think you can find old things you watched recently, can you? Is there a way to track down old shorts? Old shorts. Can you actually search? Can you search shorts? Let's see if there is one that you can search for shorts. Facebook market place. Let's see. Usually there's one down here. I bought food on Facebook Marketplace, blah, 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 blah. See, so none of these. Is this the one? Really? So my wife's trying to do this on Facebook Marketplace, and there's a whole bunch of Facebook Marketplace nonsense. How bad? I had some. I don't know if these YouTube shorts are broken, by the way. But yeah, I can't find it. But anyway, it was the, like I said, it was pretty good. And it matched our situation of this guy. Is it a prank? Do you call? Would you call it a prank? I don't know if you call it a prank, but I'll share this with my wife. It's pretty good. This is so true. This is just the way it is. Wow. Like, I'm not even doing that. It just keeps scrolling. What the heck? Like, what's going on? What is like stuck? What is it doing? I can't make this go. There's something bonkers about Facebook Market. Look at it. It's just, it's not me. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that, people. It's a bad mojo going on there. Plus, your next visit from your next communication will be Amazon, will be through their lawyers, and you'll be in jail. they'll send cops out. Hello, you've been committing fraud. How are these funny? I don't think any Facebook. Prank calling. Why would you? I mean, Facebook's got enough. Facebook Marketplace has got enough problems that they don't need people pranking them. Hey, there's a new Thomas Brush. I've been watching these guys because these are all video game developers he talks to, and some of them have been, well, most of them are successful. He doesn't talk to the failures. He talks to some, I guess, that have had failures, but not those that are failures. Everybody's had some amount of success. But I do like these Thomas Brush. So he put a new one. He kind of puts stuff out regularly. He's pretty good. He's developing his own game, and he's been pretty successful. He's had a few releases. All right, back to it. Or was I? Oh yeah, I was saying that my wife tried to sell my monitor, and a guy yesterday, of course, said he was going to pick it up, and he ghosted us. He didn't return. He said, "I'm going to buy it," and then nothing. And then today, a guy says, "I'm going to buy it. I'll let you know when I'm on my way." And I'm like, we'll see. And even when he says, "Yeah, I'm on my way," and then he doesn't show up for 5 hours, or doesn't show up, 5 hours later, you're like, where's this guy at? Is he driving from Canada? Which would be about 4.5 hours away. Or 4. So, yeah. Facebook Marketplace. Good luck, man. Some people sell stuff on there. I don't know how they do it, because we've had nothing but mediocre luck selling stuff on there. You're better off with the giveaway. Look, the what do you call it? The free cycle and community. What do they call them? I forget. They're like community free cycles for 6. So there's like one in every area, it seems like, and you just get on there and say, "I'm going to give this away," or take things or whatever, and they will come and usually they show up. They'll go pick up the stuff. It's free, right? All right, let's see if this works any better. So basically the whole point of that was to put a min lower than my lowest person in the system. This way, whenever I give that min to somebody who's got no values, they get to have the new min, which is actually lower than everybody else. So that should work for me. That is everybody for the escape block. I think I've got that kind of fixed. Yeah, let's close that off. Let's go to my defensive skills. I now have my escape block set. And this is create test. I did that, which is, we'll call it in review. Until I deploy stuff, everything's at best in review. That's in review just means I've gone through the testing, I have completed it, and I'm pretty solid feeling about how it works. Okay, so same with run defense skill, which I have to do the same basic thing I did down here. Just so that I can define a minimum. Oh, whoops. That's not going to work. I actually have to put this in here. That's not going to do it, folks. We need to have all the parts in place. 99 is a disqualifier, meaning we only get back the min when I do that. And then this one is run defense skill. And then I go here, and we put this here. And we put -9. Now this is where I put 99. There. So that'll help me define the minimum person's value and get this guy the minimum value once it's ran. When the skills get run, this will get defined. And then when it runs through again, all these guys will get reset back to the minimum. Same thing up here. So tackle skill. Not everybody has tackle skill values, so we will have to put one in here. Same thing, define the minimum. Tackle skill, and we'll define the min. Go in here. Oops. So what happens when a player has no games played? Get games played adjusted stat. All right. Now I have to determine when a player is going to get the 0 value. So this function, so sax is 0, but we can't divide. What if a person has games played 0? What is my... So there's 1,400 players in the league. In mine, I have roughly 1,400 players that get loaded, but some of them get kicked out, and in other words, they get filtered out. So I have like 1,700 players. But I wonder if that's just because there's 1,400 players that have played. What is my stats for that? I don't remember. Staff, player stats. Normalize header name. games played, camel case, determine sheet type, create player key, team, oh, this is a big one. Generate player ID, generate game ID. I normally wouldn't do this. This is a lot going on. This is a big, 600 lines. I don't know if I like that. But for the sake of my simplicity here, is valid team abbreviation, create team key, create team player, generate unique player ID, import single Excel file, failed to open, process, missed required, has required fields, sheet name, sheet type. Oh wait, variables for tracking games played and started. Extract player data. Do nothing here. These are extracted separately from processing identifying fields. Identifying fields are handled later when creating updating unique players. Get identifying fields for team data. I'm trying to find the exceptions that kick people out. Skip if we don't have a player name. Add to that relevant collection. Create new records. Only create a new player record if team abbreviation is valid. Oh, that we're skipping player due to invalid team abbreviation. Insert player and team data into the respective collections. Check if player has games played field set. Less than or equal to 0. Move to exceptions. Okay, so they have to have at least some games played. So they should never have a 0 games played, which means there are players that come into that would not be available for a season. Games played does not mean games started, but they have to have at least been in a game, which is interesting. So rookies don't have any games played. Oh, that's not true, because I'm going to have rookies that come into the league with base stats. Interestingly enough, I was thinking I had to bring in rookies with no stats, but that's not true. Because when I build a league, the rookies can be made up of the rookies from the previous season. So when you draft them, they actually have skills based on their being rookies. In your league, there's their first year, but they have stats built off their first year in the actual NFL stats. So that kind of works. I didn't even think about that. So I'll still call them rookies. Everybody still gets to be a first year, second year, rookie, whatever you want to call them. But now what I will do, I was thinking I'd have blank players. You know, would they come in and they'd just be characters I had to make up their stats? But that's not true, because I'm going to put them in with whatever stats they had for that year. So they were rookies, and they were rookies, but those will be the guys you draft. So you can only draft rookies that had playing time, which is interesting. Not every rookie gets playing time. So I don't know if I'm going to have... I'm a little concerned about my rookie player pool. Additionally, do my stats actually have the number of years? How do I know what year these guys are? I don't know if my stats have the year. Games played. Age, has their age. Huh. Interesting. I don't have I don't have player details. I'm gonna have to get that from somewhere. I mean, like if you look at Ollie Highsmith, he has no. I have no way of knowing. I would have to somehow get the number of years that they played. But even then, I would have to know when their rookie season was. Huh. That is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. So if I go 2008, it doesn't say what season it is of theirs. Huh. Okay, let's see if AI knows the answer to this. I don't even know if the answer exists. Is there a resource that can identify the players all the players years in the league at any point, any year? For example, I have a list of players for 2009 and their stats, but I don't know which. I don't have the year of any player in the league. Is it their rookie season or fifth season? Basketball reference. Did I not identify to be clear? I need NFL. This site gives you full 2009 roster and stats, player profiles and career timelines, draft year and team history, how to find a player's year in the league. Go to the player's profile on Pro Football Reference, which is what I'm looking at. Yeah, but I need bulk. If you want a spreadsheet of names, I can help you build a Python script that scrapes each player's debut year, calculate their year in the league for 2009, outputs a clean list with experience levels. Would you like to help? I may have to do that. There's going to be a point where I need to start scraping. Okay, so there is a Python resource that at some point I'm going to have to start pulling state data from. And a lot of people use it for their stats gathering, which is probably what I'm going to have to do to get some of my stats. I may even have to figure out a way. It might even be best for me to start referencing these Python resources for all my stats, if it's possible. If it's possible to get all my stats, it might be better to just generate a function that can say, go read this Python script and get it for 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Because ultimately, it might be better it might provide the information I need. I don't know. I kind of went through. There is an online reference to this Python script, and I'll tell you what. It's ugly. I mean, let's just be straight up, straight to the point. It's ugly. It's yeah, your stuff is there. I don't know what stats are there and what stats aren't. I don't know how complete that listing is, but it's got a lot of stuff and it's funky. And if you know Python, you could probably read what you need and figure it out. But I don't know Python completely, any more than I knew Go when I started. Although I did play a little bit with Python, I thought this is stupid because it uses indentation as part of its syntax. My son recently started working with Godot, and it's got that Python-esque syntax where you have to worry about indentation, and he was running into the same problems I ran into with Python. You're like staring at it going, I have everything written right. I have it exactly as I'm showing. It's told. It's exactly the same. But you don't realize that, oops, this one little field or this one little line is indented, and therefore it's being included inside of this if statement that is being the else, which means you never really hit it because it's the unlikely one to ever get hit. So all your other stuff is not hitting this line. And it's like, why is this not working? It's because it's stupid. So it's almost like the first thing you got to look for, you know. I mean, like for me, the first thing I got to look for is case. Make sure case sensitivity. But Python not only uses case sensitivity, it also uses indentation, which, you know, you're going to get two of the worst things that can possibly be in the life of a developer. and so you're trying to find out if all your indentations are correct. Now, to be fair, SQL... Well, no, I guess SQL Server doesn't use indentations. You usually indent, but you can have lines as long as it's one continuous line after an if statement without any encasing. In other words, no parentheses, or no begin or end. In SQL, it's begin or end, which is your equivalent of a open and close parenthesis or squiggly brackets or whatever the heck the language of the day is. But there's a lot of trying to figure out which one is the one you want to use. But maybe I'm going to have to get that, because now I'm starting to think, how am I going to know which players are the rookies of any given season so I can put them in the game? I don't even know what stats exist for any given rookies. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I may have to do that. I'll be working with AI to figure that stuff out. I hope the Chiefs get stomped this year. I mean, like, knocked out of the playoffs, or like not in the playoffs. Like Denver wins the division, and by whooping on Kansas City twice, then they split up a bunch of the division wins, and none of them get in. Just Denver. And then other teams are just better than Kansas City, and Kansas City gets to stay home for a year. They need to stay home for a year. They've had enough of them. Yo, Patrick Mahomes, whatever. Patrick Mahomey. Yeah, I know. Okay. So that said, now I know what's kicking people out, and I shouldn't have that problem with games played. I was mostly looking that up because I was curious if it would have an effect on games. If games played was a required test. Shouldn't be, because if you don't have games played, you don't have a stat on here. Now, here's an interesting dilemma. How do I put people on the... how do I get players in the league? Because there's like 1,600 players in the league, and several hundred of those aren't going to get a play. And if you figure there's a 53-man roster times 32... So, well, let's see, 50 times 50 times 30 is what? 1,500? And so you go, then you got another 53, 1300, 32, so you got another 106, so that's 1600, and then you've got another 90. So you got about 1700 players in the league on the starting rosters. Is that right? Is that right? 53 times 32? Yeah, 1700. That's about what I said. So you got about 1700 players. Now, only about 1400 get to come into the league because 200 of them don't actually get playing time. Which means I cannot make an entire roster of players from one season. Dun dun dun. Uh-oh. I'm either going to have to make up players, have smaller rosters, or scramble up all the players I do put in and put all... I mean, if I put 15 years of players in, which is what the goal is, it's actually going to be 16 years. 2009 to 2025, because I won't be done with this before then. So if I put in 2009 to 2025 players and all their stats, uh, 2009 to 2025, all their stats, that's going to be about, assuming it's about the same for everybody, 1700 times 16, so 1700 times 10 is 17,000. And then another 17 times 6 is about another 120, 102, something like that. So another 10,000. Oh wait, no. It's 17 times 10 is 17,000. 17 times 6 is about 102, yeah. So 17,100 or so. 90,100 players. And if I put them all in, and then I only, there's going to be, most of the first year, the rookies are going to be the hardest because there's a lot less of them, right? I mean, not all rookies make the teams. They don't get to play. I have to figure out a way to get other players into the league. Like, I may have to somehow grab the exceptions, players that didn't have games. That would give me a resource of upwards of 300 more players to work with, and enough to probably build a league. But then I have to make up their stats because they have no games played. So their stats are going to be totally bogus. If it's a first-year player, which is probably a lot of them, I can kind of understand it, because I can make it up. I have a logic I'm building that will allow me to add some kind of base stats for basically they're going to have rookie stats, which is they have none, but they're going to get higher levels of potential. Because rookies get to have more potential. definitely got me curious as to where I'm headed with this. All right, I got to take a quick break.